Hello and welcome to another episode of Bare Bones Wargaming, a show with no bells, no whistles, no frills, just a man, a camera, and his game. On this episode, we are back on the Russian front with the latest game from Vento Nuovo Games in Italy, and that is Kiev 41. Which I did an unboxing video for recently, and as you can see it's a Kickstarter edition there. Got some really cool stuff with the Everything Kiev version of it, edition of it if you will. So we're going to be taking a look at a playthrough here. Now of course this is one of 3 games that uses the same system. There's also Moscow and Leningrad 41 as well, which of course naturally enough I also own. And as I think I mentioned before, if you're looking for information on that, I've done reviews for those 2 games, written ones on Board Game Geek. Okay. So a couple of things here real quick before we jump in and immerse ourselves in the game. The Gore-Tex map here is in use, and I took a chance on this, took a little bit of a gamble. I also got the one for Stalingrad, Inferno, and the Volga, and I'm glad I did. And I'll show you why here to start this video at this point here. So let me zoom in here on the top, right up here. Let's see if I can make this sucker any taller. I think I can go up a little taller. Hang on a second. La la la. That's about as tall as it goes. Alright. Okay, but here I picked 2 spots on the 2 maps that are identical. The same spot there, the Soviet Staging Area 2, which is where you see the 4 blocks. Those blocks are not actually part of the game right now, but I just set them up here just to give you an idea of looking at the difference there. If you look at the mounted map board, and that's the mounted one, that's not even the one that comes with the game, you can see how the 4 blocks over here on the left are, quite crowded. But if you look at the floor box there by the black pond, there's lots of room. I can stick other stuff in there if I wanted. There's a big gap in the middle. Okay, so if you really get into these games, you really like the system like I do. The Gore-Tex map is not cheap, but it is worth the investment, I think. Now, one thing I am going to check with Vento Nuovo Games is to see if their newer maps they have for Moscow and Leningrad are of different quality. Because one thing I have noticed, I purchased the Moscow and Leningrad ones secondhand from Noble Knight Games, and I see the difference in the quality, quite frankly, of the 2 maps. So I might want to check in and see if the new ones they have still for sale on their website, are more like this one, because this one is really nice. I really, really like this map. Although, as you can see from the edges, I need to use some chess pieces to hold everything down. Because the map, it can lay flat, but it takes a little bit of work. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that real quick. So let me go and let's zoom back out. Let me clean that up real fast. And then after I clean it up, we'll get into some gameplay here and we'll get rolling. Okay, so this of course game begins like the other 2 do in July of 1941. So this is after the initial first week onslaught of Operation Barbarossa, and it gives you a different starting point. So that's the one drawback to these games, and actually I should probably save some of those thoughts because I do plan to post a review of Kiev 41 here a little bit later this week, hopefully, knock on wood there, for that. So I've already played, just to give you an overview of what's happening here so far, I've already played the first turn. The July turn is completed, and I have to be honest, I actually got very lucky here. If you kind of look in what happened here with my Wehrmacht and friends, as you can see, the blue blocks are Romanian blocks, and as you can see, we really cranked up through there. The Luftwaffe did a good job. We easily managed to get across the Dniester, and we're pressing on Odessa already there. Now up here though, where 1st Pensa Army is and 6th Army is, didn't get quite as lucky, because unfortunately got some bad die rolls there and was not able to clear things and try to pocket some units. We did pocket a few Soviet units. You can see them there with the white blocks on top of them. And of course, unless they are saved by punching a line through them to them for supply, they will be eliminated permanently from the game. Soviet forces that are destroyed in combat go into the reinforcement pool unless, when they are destroyed, they're destroyed by attrition, aka cut off from supply, and then they are permanently eliminated from the game. So these guys are on the verge of being permanently eliminated at this point in time. And of course the Soviets, just to back up here a little bit, the Soviets, you can see, have already begun to create a defensive line here while holding on to Odessa. And of course they can hold on to Odessa because they have the Black Sea and they have supply lines they can use for there. Okay, and one of the reasons I'm starting here with August is because the first part of every turn of the logistics phase you cannot do in July. That is skipped because, of course, everybody's rolling on the map here. Okay, so let's get rolling. So logistics phase, basically in the logistics phase, you're basically trying to revitalize your headquarters, send replacements to the front to strengthen the blocks that are there, and you get to pull reinforcements and deploy them onto the map as well. Okay, so it always starts with the side without the initiative. The Germans begin the game with the initiative. Now the initiative can be used for a couple of different things as far as game activities go. You can use it to do a strategic action, which basically lets you move a bunch of blocks without engaging in combat. Basically, like think of like, you know, a strategic movement in another like hex encounter game, you know, where you can't enemy ZOCs, that kind of thing. You also can call reinforcements, but then once you use it, you give it to the opponent. So if you call in reinforcements, they can call in reinforcements, and you get the idea there too with that. And then you can also use it for exploitation. If your armor manages to break through and you see a great opportunity to do encirclement, you can also do that as well too. Okay, so the Soviets do not have initiative, so they go first. So logistics value is pretty straightforward calculated. First of all, you start with the leader. So Stalin's up here in Moscow. Okay, and his strength is 4. This is a block game, so of course the blocks, the number of dots equals their strength. So you take that value, 4, add all your non-exhausted headquarters. Now, what do you mean by non-exhausted headquarters? Let's zoom in here on the southern headquarters for the Soviet Union. As you can see there on the block, you've got stars and you've got a heart. A heart shape tells you that the block is exhausted. So if the block is on its heart side, here you can see it's on its 2-star side, then it would not count toward the logistics value. This one will, though, because it still has energy, the ability to funnel supplies, coordinate, etc., etc., etc. Okay? So we've got 4 for Stalin, and then the Soviets have 1, 2, 3, 4 headquarters that are not exhausted. So that takes it up to 8. Okay? And of course, also you count controlled victory areas. Well, the Soviet Union controls most of those at the beginning of the game. Places like Sevastopol and my friend the D word. I'm not even going to try it. I've given up for the time being. Kharkov and Maikop and Rostov. Okay? So we have 8, and then they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 more flags, so now we're up to 14 for logistics value. And the last thing the Soviets would get is the supply. Now there are supply discs here for different areas. If you look down here, I'll zoom in on the Black Sea here, you can see there's 2 discs here. There's a dark blue one and a light blue one for the Sea of Azov and for the Black Sea. So long as those are on their operational side, which is this side of it, when it's cut off and destroyed, it goes to the side that's got the X on it, then those also count. So we have 14 at the moment, and all 4 of those, and by all 4 I mean way up here on the road to Tula, where Heinz Guderian, Hurrying Heinz, is running along, those are all still good for the top edge of the map. So 14 and 4, that's 18 logistic value. Okay. Now you also would get +1 for every 10 enemy blocks that are eliminated, but at this point, of course, nobody has any eliminated blocks in the game. However, there are 4 scenarios in this game, so if you're playing one of the other scenarios like the river or the snow or the pocket, which of course is about the Kiev pocket, then you might start the game with some blocks eliminated. Okay. And one thing I will say about the game too is, if you look here in the reference card, you know, everything's lined up, outlined nicely. You got the rule reference there. You know, I mean, their reference cards are very nice, both front and back. You know, showing you the different areas, the different types of blocks, you know, what all the labeling means. So they're very nice reference cards in full color, as you can see too. Okay. Okay. So So the first thing you can do with that logistics value, well, the first thing you have to follow a certain sequence here, so you have to be careful about that. First thing you do is you use regeneration points. Those 18 points you can use to regenerate and rebuild your headquarters, so they're up to full strength. Then you can use them for replacements, and then you use them to draw reinforcements. Notice the order, though. You have to do replacements before you do reinforcements, so that can be a little tricky there, okay? And the 18 value counts for all three. So it's not like you have to divide the 18 up and be like, gosh, I'm going to use 6 for headquarters. I'll get 4 reinforcements. No, it's 18 for each category. Okay, so here we go. So the Soviets, of course, kind of have overkill here with their headquarters, 18 right now. It only costs 1 point of regeneration to bring a headquarters back up a step. So we're going to do this one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, oh, sorry, that 5, that one only goes up to 3, and that one already is. So, and if you don't use points, you lose them, okay? It's a use it or lose it kind of situation. There is no saving for a rainy day, okay? So that's that. Now, replacement points. Now, replacement points, you can get to units that are in supply, okay? Supply basically means you can trace through friendly controlled territory into a space. Now you can trace into a space that has enemy units in it, but you cannot trace through that space to a neighboring spot. Okay, that is verboten, to use a good German word. All right. So now one of the things you might have noticed here, and I'll zoom in a little bit, is there's a lot of Soviet blocks that are facing backwards. Because you randomly deploy units at the beginning of the game, I like to leave them backwards, because it does leave a little bit of mystery at the beginning of the game, especially with the initial operations. I don't know exactly what I'm running into, which is part of why I ran into so much trouble with the 1st Panzer Army, because when I revealed the blocks there, I was like, holy smoke, I hit the strongest blocks in that particular space. So that was you know, a bit of an unwelcome surprise. So some of these I probably will turn around right now, so I know who is where and rebuilding steps go, okay? So let me go ahead and do that. I'm just going to flip everybody around. Now, when units are initially deployed for the Soviets, they're either deployed at full strength, or if you have a block like this that has a letter R on it, that's a remnant, and that block that block starts at its weakest level. Okay, so again, it's kind of random, so you never know what you're gonna find. You know, the Eastern Front's like a box of chocolates. Okay, sorry. Alright, so far, as you can see, maybe from turning this around, I've destroyed a lot of strong Soviet forces here. Or I should say I've destroyed a lot of remnants. There's a lot of strong Soviet forces on the map. Holy cow, Batman. Wow, that's a lot. Alright, so let's keep turning around here. We got a block down here at Sevastopol. They're maxed out. Whoops, sorry about the earthquake. And those guys are maxed out. These guys, wow. A lot of the, yeah, I really destroyed a lot of remnants to start the game. Okay, there are a few remnants here and there, but not too many. Alright, so now I'm going to start rebuilding block strength. Okay, and again, the guys over here with the white blocks on them, they're out of supply. There's no helping them. Okay, now how do you rebuild your dots? Well, the way you rebuild your dots is very simple. Let me just zoom in here on some guys here. So each of the blocks has colors to it. Black dots are single fire, so in combat you roll a die and you need a 6 to hit. White, like the headquarters there, and then this armored unit, you need a 5 or 6. And anybody that has red, and I don't think the Soviets have any reds to start the game, any reds, those ones end up being 3 points. Okay, so I've got 18 points to work with, so I got a lot. So let's take a look here. So I'm going to try and beef up some defenses here along the line. So I'm going to go 1, 2, and you can max out. You can spend as many points or as few points as you want on a block there. So that's 2. There's 4, 5, 6. Let's get Kiev defended. 7, 8, 9. Now I'm going up to white, so that's going to be 11, 13, 15. And now let's take a look over here. 15, 16, 17, and that's going to be it. And again, notice you cannot save anything. So I spent 17. I don't have any way to spend anything else. So now I'm stuck. So now I'm going to draw all the blocks for the Soviets, and deploy them. They get 18 blocks, which is a boatload of blocks. So they will get back most of the units they lost. 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 17, 18. Okay. Now, what I like to do when I draw the Soviet blocks is, the first thing I like to do is group them. Let me drop down here where I've drawn them. I like to group them by color. Okay? Because in the game, headquarters, or units are commanded by the headquarters that match their color. So, for example, the dark blue blocks are commanded by the dark blue headquarters, the light blue by the light blue, etc., etc. Okay. The exception is any units that are white. Any units that are white may be commanded by any headquarters within range of it, and we'll get into that once we do the impulses here in a little bit. Okay. So, whoops. All right, so we got a lot of yellow, which is not unusual. But did we get any? Oh yes, we got the powerful Budeni block. Budeni's one that can command anybody, anywhere, anytime. One of Stalin's cronies. It's amazing he survived the fall of Kiev. Okay, so there's all the blocks by color. Okay, now for the headquarters for the Soviets, or for the reinforcements for the Soviets, you can place them either in a city hex, which is these white blocks here, or they may be placed way up here in the corner in the staging areas, up here by where my black pawn is. You can only put one unit in a city space if you choose to do so. Okay, and you must observe stacking limits. Stacking limits in this game are pretty easy, to be honest. Let me come down here for a few examples. Green 4, yellow is 2. Victory point hex, which is Sevastopol with a star, is also 2, and then the red one is also 2 stacking as well, like down here on the coast of the Crimean Peninsula. Okay, so, alright, so now let's see. So the Soviet Southwest headquarters is up here. So I'm going to deploy those guys up into this space here. And I'm going to deploy the fuller strength guys closest to the headquarters unit, because I want to take some of these guys that are remnants and throw them further back, because they're going to need time to build. But I want to try and keep them within range. So the remnants, let's see, you know what, I might even put the remnants in the Soviet supply area. And there's no stacking limits in the Soviet supply area or the German staging area, which is where all German reinforcements go. Speaking of which, the blue headquarters, the dark blue headquarters is not in the game yet, so I'm going to put the dark blue ones over here where Stalin would be. The green headquarters is in the game, so I'm going to go ahead and concentrate there for them. And then I've got these blue blocks. I've got 2 remnants and then 3 actual stronger units there. So I'll put one down here, one here, and then we'll put one here, my favorite D place. These guys, I'm going to put them a little further back because they're going to need time to rebuild, because they're at the remnant status here. And then I've got 2 white blocks, one of them being Budeni. So what I think I'll do is I'm going to stick Budeni here in the middle, because he can command any block that exists on the face of the earth. And I'll put those guys there. And again, you know, I'm not pretending this is optimal deployment and stuff. As always, I'm just trying to show you how the mechanics of the game works. Okay, so that's it for the Soviet Union. Now, the other thing you can do during the logistics phase is you can regenerate your leader back to full strength and skip all the stuff I just did. That is another option that you have. But if you do what I did, then you turn Stalin down from 4 to 3, and now you're ready to roll. Okay, so now, the mighty German Wehrmacht, to quote Captain Kiesel. Alright, so the Wehrmacht, I have 4 for Hitler. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 headquarters that are not exhausted. I exhausted the Romanian headquarters to try and get as far east as I could. As quick as I could. So that was my choice there. So 4 and 5, that's 9. And then we count victory point areas, which unfortunately I only have 1 right now as the Germans. So that only gives me 10. So I've got 10 command points to use here. Okay? So regeneration points is really what they're called in the rulebook. I call them command points because they're used for the headquarters. Alright. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Ooh, now I got choices to make. If I don't do the Romanians, they're not going to be able to get anywhere. If I don't do Guderian on the road to Tula, I'm not going to be able to cut off those supply areas. Whew. Tough choice, tough choice, tough choice. Alright, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to spend 1 here, 9, and I'll spend 1 up here, 10. That's what I'll do. I'll spend those ones there, and I'll leave this Romanian headquarter here on heart level. Now, if you activate during a turn a headquarters at a heart level, it destroys it. Now, the Soviets go back into the reinforcements, but the Germans are lost, so you have to be careful, okay? Because you really need your headquarters to activate your units. All right. Now I get my replacement points here. I didn't take a whole lot of losses on the opening turn, so I don't have a whole lot to rebuild here. But let me just take a quick look and see. I did take a couple of shots. Well, let's start over here with the Panzers. So now it's a red dotted one here, okay, on this, who is this? The 3rd Panzer Corps from 1st Panzer Army, and that will take me 3 of my 9, so 1/3, excuse me, of my replacement points have to be used there. And let me just get down here at eye level, because I don't think I took any more hits. The Luftwaffe did a heck of a job, I gotta admit. I must say, to quote Ed Grimley, they were very effective. So you know what? That's the only block that got knocked down. No. I don't think I've ever had that happen before. Holy smokers. Okay. Wow. All right. That's it for replacements. Okay. And now I get reinforcements. So the Germans, again, we are getting 10 reinforcements. So I got to hope that I get some good stuff here. So we'll do Rufus and Shaka Khan here. Tell me something good. Tell me, tell me, tell me, tell me something good. There's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, let's see what I pulled. All right, what did we get? Well, some of these are face down, as you can see. Now, German ones are always at full strength. All right, I got some Hungarians. I got some 17th Army. I got some white blocks, which, again, the white blocks are good because they can be commanded by any headquarters. Okay. Let's see. Oh, good. I got the 48th Panzer Corps. I was hoping for that. Where's the Luftwaffe? Oh, I got 17th Army headquarters. Also good. Oh, got 2 units of the 17th Army. Ah, there it is. There's the Luftwaffe. Okay, so you know what? That's actually a pretty good initial draw there. Check that out. Okay, and if you're wondering why I'm kind of excited, part of this game that makes it fun and frustrating, and also very good for solo play and replayability, is the drawing of the reinforcements. You never know what you're going to get, okay? And in this particular case, I had a pretty decent draw, okay? I got the 1 Panzer Corps that was missing. I got most of 17th Army into the game. I'm still missing 1 corps there, but I actually had a really good draw, and most importantly, I got the Luftwaffe. So now I will get more air units into the game. Kaboom, which is good. Because if you know anything about, of course, Operation Barbarossa, one of the things that really gave the Germans an edge, and not only then, but basically up until around the time of the Battle of Kursk, was the combined arms edge they had on the Soviets. I mean, they were just kicking their butt and taking names on that. Now, German reinforcements are actually quite easy when it comes to where they go, because they all just go right up here in the top corner where you can see the white Kenyas. They all go in the German staging box. So let's just put them there. And then we'll turn Herr Hitler down. Whoops, that 1 block turned on me. Because again, all German units come in at full strength. So they are ready to roll, son. Quote Dave Chappelle. But I got the 48th Panzer Corps, which is awesome. Alright, very, very good. Not getting that on the first reinforcement draw. It's the kind of thing that makes you want to spend the initiative for reinforcements, because you need it. And there's the Luftwaffe headquarters, all in the staging area. Okay, and now we turn Hitler down. And we're ready for the phase of the turn that's tactical, the impulse phase, I should say. Okay. Now again, you can do strategic impulses. I'm not going to go over them in this because while you will use them from time to time, the tactical impulses are really the ones that you're really going to use, okay, when it comes to gameplay. So let's focus on that, okay? All right. So the Germans have the initiative, so the Germans will get to go first. Now, when you have and you initiate a tactical impulse, the first thing you do is you check to see if you got any units that are isolated. Well, right now, the Germans are fine. Nobody's isolated, nobody's cut off, so I don't have to worry about marking anybody with a white cube. If you get the other games, they actually come with these cool white barrels, but they didn't come with this one. I'm not exactly sure why, but they did. So, okay. So, now, first thing you do after that is you can activate as many headquarters as you want. You can activate one. Well, you have to activate at least one if you're doing a tactical impulse, but you could activate one. You could activate all the headquarters you have on a single tactical impulse. Now, of course, in a two-player game, this becomes a little bit of a chess match because, you know, depending on which headquarters you activate, and then remembering, hey, which ones did they activate, how much strength was left on it, that kind of thing. In a solo game, it's not quite as much of a guessing game because you have to know where the headquarters are all the time because they need to be activated, okay? So when you activate headquarters, the first thing you do is you may move them up to their distance. Now, units that have a black background, like Kleist here with the 1st Panzer Army, they can move 5 spaces. Okay. Ones that have a lighter background, like the Romanian blocks and the Luftwaffe blocks, they may only move 3 spaces. Okay. Be careful how you move them because once you move them, where they're at will determine their tactical range. How many spaces away they can reach out, so to speak, and command units. Okay, and you cannot send them into a space with enemy units because in order to activate them, they have to be in a space that is friendly controlled. Okay, so like for example, up here at the top of the map, where 6th Army is. Okay, so if I wanted to activate 6th Army, I could not move it into that space where that yellow Russian block is sitting there all by itself, because then it would be in combat. It would just use its regular combat value, and it can't command anything. Okay, so that's no good. However, when you move into a space, any units that are in that space, even units that are not your own color, you may activate. So, you know, if you got a few units that you really want to get them rolling and get them moving along, but you don't have the right color headquarters out yet, it hasn't been mobilized, they haven't got all their people together, however you want to put it, I mean, whatever you want to talk about that delays those reinforcements from showing up, then you can activate any blocks in the same space with a headquarter, including other headquarters. So if you want to move a headquarters without exhausting it, without taking it, not exhausting it, I should say, without taking a step down, again, you could also be talking about the exhaust level, turning it down to heart level, then you can do that too. Okay, so that's kind of a neat way to do that. All right, so for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm just going to activate a boatload of people so you can see how all this works. Okay, except of course the one Romanian, which is on heart level, because I don't want to destroy it, because then I won't be able to command any of those blocks at all. Okay, so let's see. Well, let me see. So I'm going to go ahead and, once you move the unit, or you don't, like I'm not going to move this Romanian headquarters here, the 4th Army, you lay it flat. Okay? So once it's laid flat, then you know that it's ready to be activated whenever you wish to activate it. And again, you have to observe stacking limits, so keep that in mind as you're moving forces along here. Okay? Now, headquarters can move into empty spaces, that's okay, but they can't enter enemy-controlled spaces. So, or enemy-occupied spaces, I should say. Let me just double-check that. When I say that out loud, I just want to make sure that that is correct. Let's see. Can't overstack, right. If it starts with enemy units, it can be activated if it disengages, pulls out, which costs you an extra movement point, by the way. Okay. Then it can be revealed in an uncontested area. Okay. So, if there's an area that's uncontested, you can move into it. Okay, so I was right. Just double checking. Every once in a while, it's little things like that that can jump up and bite you, so to speak. Alright. So, alright, I'm going to move this Luftwaffe headquarters into here because I want them to reach out and touch someone. I'm going to move this 11th Army headquarters. Should I move it there? Or should I move it down there? That's a good question. Or should I not move it at all? I think I do need to move it though. I need to work with the Romanian army. Yeah, you know what? Just for the purposes of this, to show how things work, I'm going to go ahead and move it 1, 2 into here, into this empty space. And I'll move Kleist 1, 2 into here. And then we'll move 6th Army up to here to prepare. Well, should I assault Kiev that way, or should I swing south and try to bludgeon my way into the enemy headquarters that's there? Let's bludgeon our way into the enemy headquarters. So we'll go 1, 2 into there. 17th Army, I'm not real keen on activating them because I don't have a lot of space for them right now. I need to fan out some of my other troops. The other Luftwaffe headquarters, though, I think I would like to have. But let me see. So I'm going to use a lot of them here as I try to cross the bug. You know what? Just for the purposes of the demonstration, I'll activate the Luftwaffe 1, 2, and we'll send them into here 3, so I can use them for that. And then we'll leave everybody else alone. We're going to leave 17th Army alone for right now because I really don't have a good space for them. Okay? All right. Now, once you've decided which headquarters you're going to activate, you lay them flat. Now, you can command any blocks within that range to move. Okay? So, for example here, let's just take a look at, let's close in on the, well, let's take a look, you know what, let's close in on Kleist. Because, I mean, you know, it's the 1st Panzer Army, so it's fun, so to speak. I mean, I guess fun from the perspective of, you know, rolling tanks and all that stuff, okay? So here, Kleist is on his side at full strength in space 49. See if I can get that to... Okay, it's not going to do it. Okay, so let's just do this. I'll just tip it up for the time being. So you can see he's got his 4 stars there. That means that he can command out to 4 spaces away. Okay, so right here, he can command any red or white units within 4 spaces. So let's see who that would constitute. So he can go 1, commanding these guys. 1, 2, 3, 4. So he will be able to activate these 2 red ones, including the 48th Panzer Corps that will be coming in. He can also activate this white unit as well. He could activate this one, 1, 2 as well. Now, you must have a clear path to be able to activate. So, for example, if we had a situation where, let's say, there was a German unit here. Well, actually, that one's isolated. I don't like that idea. Let me see if I can come up with something here. Well, you know what? I'll use it for the demonstration anyway. Okay, just to prove the point that, my point being is that you cannot cross enemy territory for the headquarters activation. It has to be a free path into those spaces. Okay? Okay, so I'm going to move these panzers 1, 2, 1, 2, move this white unit 1, 2, and then these guys 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm trying to decide if I want to move, yeah, 5. Let's stack that. Green space, you can stack 5. So we'll maximize those guys. Okay. All right, I'm going to take 1, 2, these 2 units from 6th Army, 1, 2, into here. We'll leave those guys there. Well, actually, yeah, 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to use 6th Army to activate a couple of these white blocks in the staging area. 1, 2, 3. And they'll come in here basically as reinforcements to prepare for future operations. Okay. And again, he can do that because he's here, and then 1, 2, 3 into that space up there into the staging area. Okay. All right. Now down here, 11th Army can command units. So let's go ahead and let's start 11th Army rolling here. We'll get them across the river. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 3. And again, they're all within the range of that. Now, rivers don't affect movement in this game, but what they do affect is combat. And there's these little blue blocks to mark as a reminder on units. And I'm just going to put them here with all these guys. Because what happens is when you cross a river to attack, you basically end up only able to roll 1 die for each unit, no matter its strength. So for example, I've got a 4 triple fire red die unit there. He'll only be able to roll 1 die. That's it. Okay. All right. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, here's another 11th Army unit. So 1, 2, 3. They'll move up to there. And then 1, 2, 3. I'm going to have them cross the river. And then I've got 4th Romanian Army here. So I'm going to move up some of the strongest units. So 1, 2, 3. Have them cross the river. 1, 2, 3. Them cross the river too. And then I also want to make sure I'm isolating people here too. So 1, 2, and trying to cut off Odessa, although Odessa will be able to be supplied by sea. The Soviets, so long as they have that supply option, they'll be able to do that. Okay. Okay. All right. Now, the other thing is with the Luftwaffe headquarters, now I can do a range with as many markings on it. So let me zoom in on this. Whoops, wrong direction. On this Luftwaffe headquarters. So notice it has 4 stars there. So 4 spaces away, I can launch any planes that I want into a space. Now, each Luftwaffe headquarters commands 4 bombers. They're all Hinkel 111s because the Stukas were not used here. The main effort, of course, was Army Group Center. So the best close assault units, which was part of Richthofen's 8th, if I remember correctly, 8th Air Force unit there, they were attached to Army Group Center. So in this game, you have nothing but HE-111s giving support, which, of course, was kind of spotty hit and miss, okay, as far as that goes. So I'm going to go ahead and commit these bombers. Now the bombers, unlike the headquarters, you can count over top of enemy spaces there. And let me, before I forget, let me go ahead and mark these guys because they crossed the bug. Because I need to remember they only get to roll 1 die. Okay. Alright, so speaking of which, since they only get to roll 1 die, I'm going to make sure they get all the help they can get. So, let me deploy these bombers, and then, unfortunately, I'm going to have to end this episode because, for some reason, my battery did not charge fully on my camera. I don't know why it didn't. That's bizarre. But it didn't. So, let me zoom back in real quick here just to show you the Luftwaffe deployments here. Okay, so here's the Luftwaffe headquarters. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to put 2 Luftwaffe bombers here to support those German units there, and then 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Put 2 to support those guys. Now the other Luftwaffe headquarters also commands 4 bombers, and in the other games you can get the metal bombers, and you can buy this stuff from Venta Nuovo if you want to online. You can buy these extra add-ons if you will, or if you want, I should say. And you know what? There is an enemy command unit there. I really would like to blow it off the face of God's green earth, because if I can knock it out for the rest of the turn, then all those yellow blocks, they're going to require Budeni to do something. So you know what? I'm going to go wild. I'm going to put the whole stack of Luftwaffe bombers up there to support 6th Army. You can see them there. Boom! Alright. Okay, so, all done. I've moved my headquarters. I've moved all the blocks that I want to at this point. They're all in. They're all moved. Everybody's been moved around, and now we're ready for combat. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this episode here because, like I said, my battery didn't charge properly. I don't know why. Maybe I need to get a new battery soon. Maybe that battery life is just, you know, the ability to recharge it is just, you know, going downhill. So I'm going to head in this here with this movement. And this took quite a while anyway, so probably what I'm going to do with the next video is, oh, I knew I was forgetting something. I wanted to activate Guderian's headquarters. So, a little retroactivation. Oh, you didn't see that. Again, I just want to show you all aspects of the game. If I was playing, honestly, by myself, I'd be like, shoot, I forgot to activate Guderian. Stupid, stupid, stupid. But, yeah, because I want to show you, I'm going to, oh, I do that little yawn thing. Oh, Guderian was activated. Okay, so, there. Okay, so, this is the movement portion of the tactical impulse here, and then what we'll do next video is I'll show you how the combat works, and then I'll offer a few thoughts, not too many, because like I said, I'm also going to post a review of the game sometime in the near future, because I've played it a number of times now already since it came out last month, or actually this month. It's still October. Hard to believe. This has been a long month for me. Yeah, very long month. And like I said, it's similar to the other system, so I feel like I know this very well. I can, kind of speak to certain little tweaks and things here with this one, as well as do general comments on the system itself as well. Okay? Alrighty. So, this is Tim Korchnoi from Bare Bones Wargaming, saying I will see you soon again from the Eastern Front, where we're going to unleash all these combat spaces here. What do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4 combat spaces to unleash here, and we'll cut everything loose. And I guess maybe I should have moved 17th Army, but there was no place. Let me just count here real quick. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, see, they're all slow blocks. So 1, 2. I guess I could have closed on the flank up there to again just show you, but that's probably what I should have done. I should have taken 17th Army and gone 1, 2, 3 and pressed here on this space to try and put more pressure on Kiev for next time, but I didn't. So I'll just show you. I mean, there's enough combats to give you an idea how the combat system works and all that for the nuts and bolts. Okay, so I will see you again next time with the combat example for this game, and also talk about the pass impulse, which there's nothing really fancy to that. And then I'll show you how an isolation check works with the Soviets, just to give you an idea of how that plays out and everything. Because the Soviet units over there, clearly on the edge of the map by the night, are not going to survive. They ain't going to make it. So, okay, so as always, thanks for watching. And next time it's combat. Or as Duke Nukem used to say back in the mid-90s, come get some. Thanks for watching. See you next time.